Hey folks, this is Brian with another Far Horizons update. Dylnn's log will begin in a moment, but there is a significant change that occurs. So hang around for the end to see where this thing is going. Begin personal log, 28/11/20. So the hikers took us through the forest. They had a Jeep we could ride in, so it took us no time. And we get to the bluff, and there's a trail that goes on up it. And from up on top of the bluff, we can see the south, the aircraft still making those search patterns, looking for, we assume, us. Reynald notices that the passenger's got an earbud because he hears some communication going on. Whispers over to us, so we just kind of, okay, let's just watch, you see what's going on. It does make some sense because these guys are, under the radar kind of thing. Not necessarily bad guys trying to get rid of us. But we get to further into the forest on top of the bluff, and he asks us if we're interested in some spelunking. We kind of go, well, we're not really dressed for that. He says, you'll love it. And they pull over to a cave in a rock face. So we all pile out with our stuff and we walk in the cave. He's got a flashlight. And he says, oh, look, a pool. Time for a swim. And he jumps into the water. And the light slowly goes down and disappears. And we're sitting in the pitch black. Maybe we'll just wait around for the driver to come get us because we can't see anything. A couple minutes go by and we're just still sitting there. So, okay, crawl along the floor to the edge of the pool, sit down, go down. Once I drop down, I can see some light from a tunnel off to the right. So, okay, swim towards the light, come up into a airlock kind of thing. And the guy's there. There are a couple other guards. And, I get up and then the other guys follow me through and they talk to somebody. An elevator lift goes. I think go down. And it comes to a room, a security room, and Tajin is there. And he takes she takes us to the ops center. Once we get to the ops center, we can see all kinds of stuff going on. I ask about our driver, and somebody points us over to a terminal, and there's a site there of a car crashes, and the car has been all shot up, and that was the car we were in. The lieutenant who had briefed us on this mission earlier comes over and he tells us that he had escaped the crash, but excuse me, the cop told me he was killed. Total bummer. But then he takes us to the garage. Oh, it's a garage. It's the same garage that we were brought to initially when we came to this planet. As we look around, there's a number of vehicles still. There's several teams of folks, and we notice that four members of each team have got these masks that look like us. And he asks us who our courier is going to be. I go, well, that's going to be Arthur. So Arthur goes over with him and a guy from each of the other teams, well, two other teams. And he comes back saying, he shows us this pill, and inside the pill, he tells us that inside the pill is the data chip, and if anything happens, he's to swallow this thing, and as a suicide pill will destroy the chip as well. So we climb into a Jeep with our driver guy. And he says, you ready to go? And I guess we are. So we take off, and they say we have just enough time to get to the landing pad. So we take off. We're going through the forest. Assuming the other guys are going other places. As we're driving up to the landing pad, it's just a blank spot in the forest. There's this 500-ton mining craft come flying in, does a quick flare and land, a cargo platform lowers, driver drives right at that, says, "Get out, get out, get out." We all jump out and he takes off. Platform goes up. I ended up losing my balance somewhere, sprang my ankle. But we go up and close. Some guys come get us. They put us in a life pod, and the ship takes off. After a while, they let us out and wander around the ship a bit. And this captain comes and talks to us. Tells us we're going to Kalahari Beta. It's a mining colony, but it's not a primary system, so I've never heard of this. Arthur actually recalls coming across references to it in the data stream we were monitoring on the Corellian base. And it says some kind of a mining outpost. And the captain tells us that CSA patrols do come through this system, the Kalahari system, on occasion. And there's a mining colony in a crater. So the mining colony is operated by McGregor and Sons, which is what the ship is from as well. And but he gets word that the signal that's been following them has split into 5 separate signals. So he says, excuse himself, and off he goes. Turns out that there's a destroyer chasing us with 4 fighters, and the fighters are coming to engage us to slow us down so the destroyer can get us. So as we start taking fire from the fighters, they put us back into the pod, and we take a lot of buffeting, but eventually we're able to transit to FTL. As we come out of FTL, they let us out again, and red alert signals start going off everywhere. The destroyer followed us through, and it launches another fighter. So he tells us that get to Kalahari Beta. There's a bar called the Broken Nose. Ask for Jack. And then he throws us back into the life pod. And our pod gets ejected with several other pods. One of them gets blasted immediately. And the destroyer's there and it's pounding this freighter. It can't take that kind of damage. It's going to go down soon. But we do notice that there are that the destroyer starts taking hits from something else. We couldn't see it first, but after looking around and trying to backtrack tracers and stuff, the Valley Forge is there, and it's pounding away at the destroyer. The fighter is personally engaging us, and we take some damage. We lose control. We do end up crash landing on Kalahari Beta. The pod is outfitted for a special team. It's made for 10 people, so there's 10 folks worth of equipment and gear. We all get on the environmental suits. There's a slight atmosphere here on this moon. We pack up with food and water, meds, and we take one of the insta shelters. There's some comm gear. There's an ECM machine. What else was there? Oh, there were 2 blast pistols and a blast carbine. We give the carbine to Tajin, and then I and Arthur take the blast pistols, and I hand off my 10mm to Reynald. So we're all armed with something decent. And we take off. We did notice it coming down, though, that there is an unusual radio signatures coming off from our west, and we are way south, about 3 days travel south of the mining base. But it's inside a large crater, and it's got a lip. So we're figuring what we'll do is we'll head over to the radio signatures, figure what's going on with that, and then cross over to the base. But as we're packing out, I notice somebody in a jump pack to our northeast. And I'll pull up the binos, and it's a Corellian colonial. So it's a human working for the Corellians, heading in a southeast to northwest direction. It's heading towards the crater cliff face. So we're thinking, okay, what we'll do is we'll skirt the crater completely, not completely. We'll skirt the crater all the way around the outside, and then come over to the base from either the north or the west, in order to stay away, because we figured they're going to track us trying to go forward. And we use my duster to kind of just disperse our patterns, make it look like wind blow kind of thing happening, and that kind of deal. Changing rain alter pretty good about that kind of stuff. I've done it before, but I'm not that great. So we have towards the radio signals. The first one brings us to a cliff face with a cave up in it. I climb up, hold the rope, everybody else comes up. There's some markings carved into the roof of the cave facing that Dylnn says, hey, this must have been burned from the ground up to the cave. I take some pictures of that. Inside the cave, we find a box, a rod, and a small packet. Small packet's about the size of a pack of cigarettes. It opens up, and there are 20 separate slots in this thing, 2 of which have little tubes in them. The others are empty. Tubes are kind of white, cream, with a yellow center. I think it's on the band. The rod itself is dark gray on one side and silvery. It's kind of grayish overall. Dark gray on one side, silvery on the other, and on the dark gray side is some kind of selection lever or button kind of deal. The box itself, Dylnn opens up. It's about the size of a briefcase. It's got some kind of improvised backpack straps on it. It's greenish in color, and so is this little box. And I tell everybody, hey, the Forerunner stuff that I've run into all have this greenish color kind of thing to it. So I think this is Forerunner stuff. Inside the big case is a small red case the size of a cigarette case. Another light green case the size of a paperback book. And inside it are 6 plastic cylinders with designs on them. I take pictures of those. And then there's a small yellow cream colored box that's got like electrical tools in it. That's where the signal is actually coming from. Opens it up, and he tells, hey, this looks like medical stuff. There's like an injector here, and this looks like it might be some kind of laser scalpel. And this must be some kind of scanner. That's where the signal's coming from, and he figures out how to turn it off. So it's not like projecting a signal, it's just radiation that, I'm working kind of thing. I spend the night up in the cave and keep track of see if anybody's following us. Don't see anything. Next morning we climb on down. Begin encryption. I did notice that with the medical stuff were 2 ampules, one of which looked just like the Immortality Alpha stuff that we got from the Forerunners back on Zoctal. End encryption. Okay, the next signal is in a ravine, and below us is a stone bridge, and off the left is some kind of dome that's been broken, collapsed. So, clamber down, we tie off on the rope bridge, we all go down, check out the dome. using the radio detector to track down the signals. We find the signal seems to come from the center. There's a piece of dome there. We brush off dust and dirt and stuff, and there's a piece of dome here, and we open it up. And as we open it up, I notice just under the lip is this small grayish rectangular chip. Don't see any signals or anything on it. Stick in my pocket. And underneath this dome is a cavity. Inside the cavity is a body. So it's kind of like, at first I thought it might be like a grave, but it's not, exactly sized that way. There's a body. It's inside a vac suit. It's got unknown markings on it, the shoulder and the patch in front and stuff like that. So I get pictures of those. It's humanoid in shape, and so I go ahead and I can't see through the visor, so I go ahead and manage to get the helmet off. And as I take it off, I can see the face, and it looks human at first, but then it quickly decays right to dust. Everybody else can see the decaying thing, and I tell everybody, hey, this thing looked human to initially. As we check it out, the suit's got 6 fingers. Oh, I just begin encryption. I described to everybody what a Forerunner looks like. That's not what the body looked like, but Forerunners do have 6 fingers and 6 toes. And encryption. So we check out the rest of the suit, dump it out. Oh, and underneath the suit is a box. It's, size of an iPad kind of thing. So we take that, we take the suit, start looking for the third signal. We climb up out of the ravine, we follow the signal north. There's another crevasse with another destroyed dome down there. And that's where the signal's coming from, but it's north of the center of the dome. So we get to that area, start digging around, and we find another piece of dome, again covering some kind of a cavity. And this is more like a room, electronics and stuff down there. And again, there's another body sitting down, and right next to it is another one of these square boxes, cubed boxes that we can't figure out what they do. There's a discussion on what we should do, because we leave this body intact so we can try and analyze it a bit later. We decide, let's just go ahead and leave all the big things here so we can come back after we get a rescue party coming to get us, and then we can get the stuff. Because we don't want to walk in the mining camp with all this alien stuff. So we put the other suit in here, and we put the rod, because it's like 5 feet long, big, in there as well. And we start to cover it back up. But as we're covering it back up, Cajun ends up kicking something and starts to uncover a piece of equipment. And so we start digging it out. And we think it might be a vehicle based on the size. And in the back, there's a panel that we open up, and this rod comes out. It's 2-inch diameter, about yay long. Similarly colored to the little rods we have in the cigarette pack. But the yellow piece is very, very small. So we figure it's some kind of fuel rod. Put it back in, close it up. We keep digging. As we're digging this thing out, some kind of like an air raft deal, open top, and somebody came across a rifle butt. So we dig out this rifle. There's a bandolier with like 6 cartridges or magazines left. and there's one in the rifle itself, but there's no sighting mechanism or anything. So we go ahead and we dig some more out of Arthur's mess with the rifle. The rest of us dig out the vehicle, but the front end has been completely destroyed. Tatum tries to get inside so you can get to the engine bay compartment. No joy. There's nothing in here. It's pretty much empty. So we bury it back up. We take the rifle and the bandolier and we put it underneath the dome with the suits in the body and the rod and stuff. Bury that back up. And we head off to the next signal. Before we do that though, Arthur did climb into the suit and try to use the suit to interface with the rifle, but nothing happened. But we did start putting some things together. The suit's got a little power cell storage compartment, and it's got one of those cells, but it's empty. We put it in the cigarette pack. We put a live one in, but still no joy on this suit. So we put everything back, bury everything up. Well, we keep the little power cells, and we've got the medical scanner and stuff in the 3 boxes that we've gotten so far. Okay, we get to the next site, another domed area. It's been destroyed. We also see on the edge of the ravine a doorway. It's normal door size, but it's like 12 feet tall. Greenish in color. As we're walking through debris following the signal, we come upon this footlocker kind of thing made out of this plasticky kind of substance. Open it up, there's a cylindrical box, a visor, and some other devices. Kind of like the medical scanner, but it's larger, about a laptop size. Tajan starts messing with it, and he tells that he momentarily heard communication signals like from spacecraft to spacecraft talking. I put the visor on, put the pull the power cell out, put a good one in, put the bad one in the back. And it's obviously some kind of sensor scanner thing because it's doing dialogue boxes and arrows and sending me all kinds of information about the look around. It does it on the people, does it on the door. The next door is a panel. So I'm relaying all this to everybody. And of course I can see through the thing as well. Sort of like a heads-up display kind of deal. Inside the cylindrical box are 12 spherical depressions. 4 of them have orbs in them. They look like the glow globes, but obviously they're different. And in the center of this cavity again is a body with a suit. So we go to check out the door, and using the visor and access the panel because nobody can see the panel. So I kind of outline where it is, and it opens. And there's a center jewel-like switch surrounded by 7 other jewels. Push the center one, and the other one starts spinning colors. And then they stop doing red, orange, yellow, green. Indigo, violet. No, there's one more. I missed one. But it's like the color spectrum, which Reynald noticed off the hand. It says, well, where do we start? Well, I'll start with violet. Start from the bottom and go up. And as we do that, the door opens. And we go in. It goes and it turns. We follow it along. And then it opens up into a hangar bay of some kind where the roof, the ceiling has collapsed down. The far side has all been collapsed. Reynald can notice a greenish light coming from behind all the debris. I put the visor on and I'm getting signals from over there. So we truck over there, and there's a fissure in the back wall. we squeeze through the fissure, and we come into an area with like a grassy knoll area with a path that's been marked with stones, and at the top are these two Mahirn standing stone things. And I immediately think of the card and what Vanessa had said, and I pull the card out and I look at it, and it becomes three-dimensional, and it duplicates what we see in front of us, and everybody else can see it this time too. And I tell everybody about how Vanessa said that this picture looked like the standing stones in front of the moat house at Hamlet. And so we kind of have a debate: do we explore this thing? Maybe that's some kind of gate. Can we get through it, or do we go back, get the data chip to where it needs to go, and then come back, like with the goblin or something, right? Where we can just do it on our own. And we say, okay, we got to take care of this data chip first. So we head back out. As we get to the doorway, though, Arthur stops us. He says he can see through the door, and there's a Corellian colonial trooper out there. And then after a minute, we just kind of started waiting. After a minute, another trooper shows up with a contragraph harness, carrying a blaster machine gun, and lands down near the dome area. And I tell you, this sounds like an assault team. There should be additional missileer, and everybody's going to carry blast rifles, and they should be outfitted with combat body armor, exoskeleton 7, which is high density stuff. Our blast pistols and carbine are not going to be able to do much, if anything, to these guys. So we just kind of hang loose, wait for them to go away, but they don't. In fact, one of them starts coming towards the door, and he's got some kind of scanner out, and he starts messing with the control panel. So I say, let's go. I turn and I start running. We can hear the door open and footsteps behind us. We go right for the crevice. Okay, let's go, guys. And as we hit the walkway, the stones, they light up. And they did it last time. They lit up as I started to walk on the pathway. They lit up with these symbols, which we kind of figure our Forerunner symbol. I should be doing a bunch of this with encryption. Sorry, guys. So all the Forerunner stuff's encrypted. And the Forerunner symbols. But that's that point where we stop. Okay, what are we going to do? But this time, okay, no, we go up the path. We're going to the path. As we get towards the top, there's a voice behind us. Stop! You're under arrest. At that point, we bolt. The gateway turns misty. I can see a stony wall on their side that's not like the stony wall from here. And in we go. The end of Dylan's personal logs. So what happens is, as we go through this gate, we transit to the sleepy village of Hamlet. We are in the convalescence rooms of the Church to St. Cuthbert. We can vaguely remember dreams we've had of being these other people in this science fiction, spacey kind of world, but that's not us. That's not what we do. We're here. What happened? Oh, that's right. We were escorting wine from Berrydale, and goblins attacked. Got hit on the head, but we were saved by Lord Kirk off his griffin. So the campaign is transitioning. Our characters look different. So we get to keep our intelligence and our power stats, but we re-roll all the physical ones. So this is a similar doppelganger situation that Vanessa and her crew found when they came from Hamlet into the Far Horizons campaign. And we ended up the session discussing, character development, party situation, that kind of thing, and we're kind of hanging. We understand we're doing Runequest III. But there's things about the world and gods and magic and stuff that we as players don't know / understand. But obviously Bruce does. He tries to relay some of that to us. But he's going to put some together and send it out to us as we make new characters. I'll probably keep doing the session reviews, but they're not going to be Far Horizons anymore, or at least for a while. Oh, and if you're interested in live play stuff, link to live plays in the description. Happy gaming. Dylnn signing off.